welcome to HITC Sport, and another Premier League match day has come and gone, and lads, this one was nutty. It was just ridiculous. So right, let's get on with it. Let's recap the games and see just what went on. Right, let's go. Brentford versus Liverpool. Brentford are ridiculous. 2 weeks ago, I heard someone say that Watford were the most impressive newly promoted team so far. Yeah, who said that? Josh King's mother? This adventurous attacking Brentford team, they nearly beat Liverpool 3-3, the size of the nutsack on Yuan Wisa, to chip the best goalkeeper in world football with just 8 minutes left. Lads, they lined out with 3 at the back against Liverpool and still had 12 shots at goal. If it wasn't for a tight offside call on Ivan Toney in the last minute, they'd have won the goddamn match. The fact that this is all being masterminded by someone called Tommy Frank, someone who looks like he's escaped Santa's workshop. I mean, sorry, but he does look like Legolas crossed with a middle-aged housewife. It would be easy to underestimate a former Brøndby coach, but I'm gonna say it, I think this guy is more tactically inventive and astute coach than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. When he was first appointed at Brentford in late 2018 following Dean Smith's move to Aston Villa, you could say the fans were a bit underwhelmed. Honestly, he doesn't sound like a top-class football manager. Thomas Frank. Frank is such an old-fashioned first name. How many top football managers do you know with their surname being Frank? No, how many impressive people in history? Unless you're a teenage girl who writes diaries in her attic, then I don't think there's been many. But this bodes so well for John Terry. If this is what happens to your managerial ability after spending 2 years sitting on Dean Smith's lap, then lads, JT is probably going to wind up managing England. Can you imagine if Frank was born in Coventry or Stoke? Then he would be getting the praise he rightfully deserves. Rightfully held up as one of the most ingenious managers in the country. Good Christ, Eddie Howe was tipped for England every 6 minutes. And I'm going to say it, I think Thomas Frank is better. I'm sorry, but having a defence filled with the likes of Ethan Pinnock and Pontus Janssen, with a former Blackburn Rovers goalie in nets, taking that into the Premier League, that's like turning up to the high school dance with a face full of adult acne. It would be so easy to just roll over and die at Liverpool's feet. Good Pinnock spent 8 years of his life at Dulwich Hamlet, and now he's scoring against one of the biggest clubs on planet Earth. Your strike force is made up of a former Scunthorpe striker and the modern day Devlin Goff. You know, a guy who's probably about 43rd choice striker in the France pecking order, and yet it still works. Brentford are brave. They know they have the squad depth of a sponge cake. They know their stadium looks like a virtual shoebox, and they know their players are footballing peasants. But just like in Blackpool 2010, they don't care. And you love to see it. This is like a mouse trying to punch a tiger in the face. It's like Roman Kemp trying to pick a fight with Alexander Usyk. 3-3. This is like Theo Baker fracturing Canelo's cheekbone. Give them credit. Ever since I did the laughing at Brentford video, you've been magnificent. Although, for Liverpool, this reminds me of the results they used to have in the early days of Klopp. You know, the 3-3 draw with Arsenal twice, the 5-4 win at Norwich, the 4-3 loss at Bournemouth, the 3-3 draw with Watford. Do you really want to go back to those lunatic scorelines? When you had yogurt brain clowns like Dejan Lovren and Alberto Moreno in defence, with stale cowpaths like Simon Mignolet and Loris Karius embarrassing themselves on a weekly basis. For Liverpool, this was sloppy, and I hope for their sake that Jurgen Klopp left puddles of blood in the away dressing room, because some of that defending is not acceptable. Virgil van Dijk, yeah, he probably still holds the crown as the world's best centre back, but just like Ben White last month, he was utterly bullied by Ivan Toney. It reminded me of when Didier Drogba used to regularly eat Philippe Senderos for breakfast, just utterly knocking him about like a hand-knitted rag doll. Come on, Virgil, for your standards, that is not good enough. Man United versus Aston Villa. Right, I'm sorry. First of all, congratulations to Emiliano Martinez. This is a guy who once took a goal for Arsenal in a League Cup match against Reading and found himself 4-0 down at half-time. This was a young Argentinian kid living halfway across the globe, giving his big break in the first team, and immediately lets Reading, yes, Reading FC, stick 5 past him. Sorry, but if you need your mate to score 7 to win the match, then clearly as a goalkeeper, the manager's probably got as much confidence in you as my Aunt Peggy does her bladder. Her mattress smells like salty piss. The guy's been loaned out to Oxford, Sheffield Wednesday, Rotherham, Wolves, Getafe, and even Reading, before Arsenal permanently binned him off to Aston Villa and choosing to replace him with a virtual cheesecake like Aaron Ramsdale. The guy was ignored for a decade at Arsenal. You think after 10 years of being in such a poisonous relationship, his confidence and self-esteem will be stuffed in a ditch, right? It's like spending 10 years chained to the radiator in some psychopath's bathroom, living off nothing but stale Weetabix and your own fingernails. Pretty sure coming out of that, you're going to be a quivering wreck who's scared of Peppa Pig. But Martinez, you've just managed to psych out Bruno Fernandes in his Old Trafford home. Bruno Fernandes is Manchester United's designated penalty taker. But I'm sorry, Cristiano Ronaldo was hovering right behind him. You know, the guy who's converted 139 spot kicks in his career. And the thing is, Martinez knows that's an insecurity in Bruno's brain. Good grace, Ronaldo takes them for Portugal, so he just pointed to Ronaldo saying, No, let him take it. And it's awkward because Ronaldo wants to take it. You know, for him, watching him take a penalty kick, it's like watching another man make love to your wife. Just standing there and passing up the opportunity of an easy goal. You can tell deep down, he's probably getting ready to sneeze blood. This is so unnatural for him. It's his job. It's like a paramedic standing by and watching a cat give open mouth CPR. Just, what? No, it's his job. Let him do it. He probably stood there, paralyzed with rage, feeling like his kidneys are about to turn inside out. He'd probably be more comfortable with chucking his son in the fireplace than watching someone else take a penalty from him. Normally, Fernandes is calmness personified from the penalty spot. His little hop, skip, and roll it past the goalie. But it's a bit different doing that in front of Jesse Lingard and Fred than it is, you know, one of the goats of the sport, with his eyes burning a hole in the back of your head, having to prove to 80,000 people in this stadium that you're better at this than Ronaldo. And clearly, his bottle went, and over the bar it goes. The match ball is probably wound up in a village in Taiwan. Bruno knows that everyone inside that stadium wanted Ronaldo to take that penalty. Good Christ, everyone wanted to scream, "Sue!" with all the velocity of a menstruating cow. This was a pressure penalty. Hasn't Bruno ever really taken a pressure penalty in his life? Because Ronaldo has, against England at the World Cup, a last-minute spot kick against Juventus to keep Real Madrid in the Champions League, in El Clasico's Champions League finals. I mean, come on. Ronaldo is the man everyone is looking to right now, not Bruno. Apparently all of his teammates have seen him eat vegetables and rice in the canteen, and that's apparently enough to make the rest of his teammates feel guilty enough to stick 2 fingers down their throat to vomit up the popcorn and Freddos they had the night before. Or something. I don't know, I only skimmed the headlines. But this is embarrassing. Aston Villa might be a big club, yes, but I'm sorry, Man United usually nibble them to shreds on an annual basis. Villa had only beaten Man United once inside the 21st century. That was 1 win in 43 attempts. Since 1999, Villa had won 0.02% of their games against this club, so I'm sorry. Having just lost a £100 million superstar, whilst United gained a 5-time Ballon d'Or winner in the summer, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer should have been able to oversee 3 points with his eyes closed. United fans would have woken up on Saturday morning and salivating over the prospect of Ronaldo bagging a few more goals, right? Yeah, no, instead the only guy they got to see score was a former Gillingham defender called Courtney. Yes, Courtney. Did his parents think he was going to be a girl? Forget to change the name? Courtney House. Sounds like some bad 80s pop singer. Solskjaer, how many times is he going to fill his midfield with McFred? Does he realise this is Manchester United? Those two might be the most insufferably boring midfield partnership in the Premier League. Honestly, they're about as exciting as a home and away box set. This is a bit like picking Darren Fletcher and Anderson in midfield, right? Well, you can get away with it when you're the greatest manager in British sport, but when you're some former Cardiff boss, not so much. This is another week where Donny van de Beek was inexplicably rotting on the bench again. Oh great, sooner or later the man's probably going to wind up sleeping on benches in the park. Honestly, that's beginning to feel like his natural home. He was also joined on the bench by Jadon Sancho. I'm sorry, but a few months ago, you were ripping it up in a double act with Erling Haaland. Now, you're lower in the pecking order than a guy who was banished to West Ham earlier this year. Not great. Chelsea versus Man City. So Pep Guardiola has finally remembered how to beat Thomas Tuchel. How Chelsea managed to beat Man City 3 times on the bounce? Does anyone know? Because this was a 1-0 thumping. City rocked up to Stamford Bridge, listened to the fans mocking them for the Champions League, and yet 59% possession, 15 shots to 5, and crucially, Chelsea didn't have a single shot on target. Edison might as well have brought with him a deck chair and spent the entire 90 minutes reading a Roald Dahl book. Because honestly, go outside right now and do as many keepy-uppies as you can in 30 seconds, and you would have touched the ball more than Lukaku did all afternoon. Honestly, he was only allowed to touch it 20 times. This was a Manchester City masterclass, and City fans probably watched this game thinking, how on earth are they not champions of Europe? Bernardo Silva, apparently he wants to leave the club. What? Really? Because he was the best player on the park? If that was him wanting to quit, could have told his face. Watford versus Newcastle. I'm sorry, what more do you want?
Oh, we hate Steve Bruce. He plays such negative, boring football.
Sorry, you just turned up to Watford and had 20 attempts at goal. It's not Bruce's fault his players have the goal-scoring instincts of a blocked toilet. It's not Bruce's fault that Jacob Murphy went through one-on-one with just a YouTuber to beat and chipped the ball into the hands of a vlogger. I'm sorry, if these Newcastle players could finish, this would have been a 4-1 win. But it wasn't, and Ismail Assar's header cancelled out Sean Longstaff's thunder strike, meaning you're only left with a point. But why does Bruce get such hate? The guy equaled Rafa Benitez's points total in both of his seasons in the Premier League.
Oh, but Bruce spent more money.
I'm sorry, does anyone really think being allowed to spend 40 million on Joe Linton, a walking pancake, does anyone think that's an advantage? That's like trying to bake a cake using nothing more than a jar of milk and a broken toaster. It's not a help. All the Geordies want to see is good football played, right? Well, you've had that in virtually every match since March. I mean, there are some unforgivable blotches on Bruce's Newcastle CV, right? Like the 1-0 loss at Bramall Lane in January. Oh, you mean the same plucky Sheffield United who 2 weeks later went to Old Trafford and won? Apparently a League Cup exit at Brentford was embarrassing. What, the same Brentford who nearly beat Liverpool yesterday?
No, but we lost 3-0 to Brighton.
Yeah, an absolute horror show, sure. But aren't Brighton now in the top 6? Since that game, you've had an entertaining 2-2 draw with Tottenham, a tough 2-1 win at Burnley, an exciting 3-2 home win over West Ham. You've grabbed a last-minute point at Anfield, scored 4 away at Leicester, narrowly lost 4-3 at home to Man City, beaten both Sheffield United and Fulham, and this season, sure, there's been no wins, but there was a 6-goal thriller against West Ham, an exciting 2-2 draw with Southampton, and after an hour, you were drawing 1-1 at Old Trafford on Ronaldo's debut, and now, you were just wasteful finishing away from beating both Leeds and Watford. To me, Bruce is doing a decent job if he had Callum Wilson on the pitch, instead of relying on a chunk of tubby custard in Joe Linton, a guy who I'm convinced has Hungarian blood, because he's damn sure not Brazilian. Then you'd have comfortably won the match, scoring 5 and forcing Ben Foster to cry on camera. Leeds versus West Ham. Mikel Antonio is an absolute beast. Where has this form come from? Yeah, this was another entertaining game. Rafinha powers Leeds ahead 1-0 after 20 minutes, then later hits the post. Junior Firpo scores a second half own goal before Antonio morphs into Thierry Henry, the side put home the last minute winner. It's taken him until his 30s for anyone to realise his best position. It seems only 5 minutes ago he was being picked as a makeshift West Ham right back. Everton versus Norwich. Imagine replacing James Rodriguez with Andros Townsend, and for that decision to actually work. The genius of Rafa Benitez, everyone. It's like replacing a sirloin steak with an out-of-date ham and cheese toasty you found in a bin outside Starbucks. And lads, still, Everton looked like such a better team. I thought Townsend was going to very quickly resemble a decrepit old man stuffed in the reserves. But lads, he's got 4 goals in 8 games. The guy has been playing league football since 2008, and yet already, the man just equaled the 3rd best goal scoring season of his career. He needs just 2 goals to make it his 2nd best ever season, and we're not even at Halloween. Lads, this man has never hit double digits in a season in his life. If he doesn't do that now, after 4 goals in a month, then he'll probably feel like jamming a fork in his eye. Anyway, that's it. Let me know what do you think. Alright, let me know in the comments. Let me know. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and as always, I'll talk to you in a while.